Good guy, that Mike Garafolo. Here's Mike Garafolo from the NFL Network. Usually he joins us from his palatial New Jersey mansion, but right now he's in Mobile, Alabama, in front of a beautiful Reese's display. I'm assuming he's crushed 60 or 70 peanut butter cups before this segment. Mike, so you're going to be fired out of a cannon, aren't you?
I am getting there, Jay. I haven't gotten to 60 or 70, but the night is still young.
I love it. So Kansas City and Philly in Super Bowl 59, or as we're calling it on this show, Super Bowl LIX, a rematch of a couple of years ago. So these two teams know what they're in for here, Mike. But what intrigues you specifically as we're about 12 days out from the big game?
What intrigues me is Jalen Hurts has had a taste of playing in the Super Bowl against Kansas City, so this shouldn't be new to him. He is a cool customer, Jay, has always been a cool customer, so he's got to play mistake-free football. The stage can't be too big for him. You saw, and it was just an unfortunate fumble. The ball slipped out of his hands the last time they played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. He's played mistake-free football this year. It's unbelievable how he has not thrown interceptions, despite the fact that, and we saw this in the NFC Championship game, he gives his guys chances to make plays. One-on-one, A.J. Brown, I'm going to put the ball up there, but it's a calculated decision, and it's the right decision for him. So going up against this Chiefs defense, he's got to play mistake-free football in my mind. He's got to out-Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes, in this game, and I think that that's going to be really interesting because I believe it's going to be a tight game, and I think it's going to come down to him not making a mistake and making a key play at that time. And if it is a tight game, you see what this Chiefs defense with Steve Spagnuolo as the defensive coordinator. I can't believe we're about to go through another head coaching cycle without Spags getting a job. That's crazy to me. But you see his ability to call the right play at the right time, that blitz against the Buffalo Bills, forcing Josh Allen and that offensive line to make split-second decisions. He always brings the pressure, but his ability to bring different kinds of pressure from different places. You hear it all the time. Romo, during the broadcast, Tony Romo says, well, you know he's going to bring the pressure. You know he's not going to go down without a swing here. But it's not just a standard blitz. It's like, where's it coming from? And it's the right blitz at the right time. Steve Spagnuolo in this defense going up against this Eagles offense. You got to stop the run. You got to play from ahead. I was watching that NFC Championship game. My wife doesn't watch a lot of football, Jay. I told her when it was 14-3, I said, this game's over. And then, of course, Washington gets within 2, and she goes, it's not over. They're right there. And I said, no, you don't understand. You've got to play from ahead against the Eagles because eventually the dam is going to break and Saquon Barkley is going to make a big play. Can Kansas City, Spags, and this defense limit it?
Okay, after a flurry of coaching hirings this past week, including Brian Schottenheimer to the Cowboys, which you talked to us about last week, there's only one team left without a head coach, and that is the New Orleans Saints. And, Mike, there's a chance they might still be without a head coach until after the Super Bowl is played. Is that right?
Well, Jay, the last time the Eagles played in the Super Bowl, Jonathan Gannon, the defensive coordinator, stayed in Arizona and became the head coach of the Cardinals. You may see something similar this time around with Kellen Moore interviewing for the Saints after the game in New Orleans, potentially becoming the head coach of the Saints. My understanding is the second interview for him, went extremely well on Monday night with the Saints. They're not in any great rush because they don't have to be. Now, assistant coaches and those kinds of things, you don't want to lose those guys to other jobs, but they're not in a great rush because they're the only team left here. And Mike McCarthy was supposed to interview, still is sort of supposed to interview with the Saints, but it hasn't been locked down just yet. We thought maybe Wednesday into Thursday, but as we sit here right now, there is no confirmed interview for Mike McCarthy, so we're going to see what winds up happening, whether he even does that interview. I think he's going to want, I know he's going to want to take that interview knowing he still has a shot for the job. So if he feels like this one's going to Kellen Moore, don't be surprised if he says, hey, guys, don't worry about this one. So we'll see. I would, at this point, handicap it and say Kellen Moore is the more likely scenario for the New Orleans Saints. But until it's done, and it can't officially be done until after the Super Bowl, you don't know quite yet.
And, Mike, I mentioned you're at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, and for viewers of our show, they might say to themselves, so what's intriguing to us about the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama? Well, I'll tell you, one very intriguing prospect this year, a history maker from our side of the border, Laurier quarterback Taylor Elgersma, the reigning Heck Crichton Award winner, first quarterback from a U Sports team to be invited to the Senior Bowl. What are scouts telling you, Mike, about his potential step toward playing in the National Football League?
He's got the makeup. He's got the tools. He is working with David Morris, who has worked with a number of key draft eligible players, Drake May last year, amongst some other ones. So he is working with some of the best here to refine his skills. He's got to work. The football's a little bit different. There's a little bit more girth. Jay is the word that they would use. It's the same length, but he's got to work with a different ball and get used to that in his hand. So he's working on that. So far, off to a good start. With regard to his practice and his performance in practice here in Mobile, from what I understand, a couple of evaluators. So they're going to watch him throughout the week and see how he does in the game here. But he's certainly got the makeup, the chance to be on a roster, the chance to be on a 90-man roster and make a statement to be potentially on a 53-man roster one day. So he is an intriguing prospect for sure. Starting off well this week, has to finish strong. We'll see what happens with him.
Mike, enjoy your time in Alabama, and we will chat with you next week just before you head to the Superdome in New Orleans for the festivities.
New Orleans is like 2 hours that way. I'm going to fly all the way home to Jersey and then just come fly right back here. So it is what it is.
Well, make sure you take some of those peanut butter cups with you, because you'll be in big trouble if you don't.
Listen, man, the peanut butter, we took a picture, Ian Rappaport and I, earlier today with the mascot, who is a giant peanut butter cup, because of course he is. So there's plenty. It's just everywhere. I mean, it's in your room. It's at the front desk. It's right behind me. My daughter wants 3 Hershey bars before I go home. I can't forget those, Jay.
You've never looked better, my friend. Thanks again.